Hello, welcome to Wise. Today's video is all about setting up a new dynamic telephone number and configuring it for your website. So I'm going to assume that you've watched the previous video where we set up the account and set up the first domain. You should now have at least one row in this table, and I've got just one row for the demo account for this video. So we click in as we're going to assign a telephone number for this domain. So once you've clicked in, we head to settings, and as long as you're looking at the number management tab, you will be able to set up a new telephone number using this button here on the right. So let's click that there. So we're going to set up a dynamic telephone number. The difference between a dynamic telephone number a static number is explained on the website in full detail. However, dynamic telephone numbers are essentially for displaying on your website, and static numbers are not. So dynamic is what we're going for here. You have to establish what dialing code you want for these telephone numbers. Now, they do not need to be the same dialing code as the number you're going to redirect it to. Let me explain that. You may wish to have the exact same dialing code on your website as your actual landline telephone number, but you might not. So you could have a Manchester telephone number and redirect it to a Bristol landline. It doesn't really matter in terms of the telephony, but it just depends on how you want to display your brand online. If you have more than one physical site, you would just set up multiple dynamic placeholders per location. We've got many customers like that who set up one for each store, and they actually sometimes redirect them all into one customer service line. So it's very flexible. You can do with it as you please, and everything that you do here can be changed later. So what we're going to do here is we're going to let's go with the Manchester idea, and book a block of Manchester telephone numbers, and we will direct them into our office in Bath. Just a note here, remember to knock off the first 0 and add on 44 for the UK, and then it will be in an international format, and that all looks good. Once we've done that, we literally hit the order dynamic number pool. Wise will then go away, find a block of Manchester telephone numbers. It will provision them. It will organize the routing so they're pointing at your main office number. When it's ready, it will refresh the page and will show you this second line here is what we've just set up. Let me just talk you through the columns. D means it's dynamic. You've set up an automatic block of Manchester telephone numbers, and they're going to redirect to this number here. You can change that anytime, and it works real time, so there's no delay. As soon as that's changed, the effects will be live on the system. You do not need to enter source, mediums, or campaigns because they will be automatically picked up by Wise and sent to Google Analytics. The class we'll talk about in a moment. This is how Wise understands what numbers to change on your website. And format is simply a preference to how you want to display your telephone number on the website. This is a good example, actually. This first one that I set up was a Bristol telephone number, and people tend to look at that number using the first 5 digits. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space, and then the rest of the phone number. With Manchester, people tend to look at the first 4 digits and then have 3 and then 4. So we can change the format. So when it runs on your website, it will display it however you wish. So what we'll do now is we'll set it up on the website and get it running. Now, first off, I just want to show you the front end of our website, because we've only got one place for a telephone number, and it's at the bottom and it has a little click to call on it. That's our existing Bath landline number, and we haven't yet installed the new dynamic number. But let's just be clear, we have installed the Wise tracking code, and you should be able to see that at the bottom of your page. There it is here for us. So we know that Wise is installed in the page. We haven't yet put the tracking number on it. So we got to go to our website editor and find where our telephone number is located. Now, this is our telephone number. It's very simple. It's got the display text for our landline, and it's got a link here which allows you to click to call it. So going back to the Wise admin, we can see when we set the number up, we were given this class which has got WZTel-394. It's not very catchy, but it is unique. Now you can leave that as it is. You can call it anything you like. I've called this one Crazy Dave. We can call this one something else, Crazy John. It doesn't really matter. Just, if it works for you to leave it as a unique class with numbers, fine. If you wanted something more memorable, change it. But they have to be unique. Each one of these rows must have a different class. Otherwise, Wise won't know what to do on the site. So now that we've changed that to Crazy John, we've got to go to our telephone number, and we've got to find the element that our phone number is placed in, which is this anchor tag here. And we need to change the class to Crazy John, and then we hit save. Now what will happen is Wise will run, it will look for anything with the class of Crazy John, and it will change the existing number over to the Manchester phone number. The important thing also to note here is you must really leave your existing phone number in here. In the rare case that Wise does not work, it will not run, and your existing landline number will simply show. So the worst case scenario here is that if Wise breaks for any time or has any downtime, your existing phone number will show on the website, so customers can always get through. So it's really important to make sure that the underlying landline number is sat behind it. Okay, once that's done, we want to go and have a look at it working. Now, I can't really go back to the original website and just look straight away, and there's a reason for that. This has already got a session running, and it will not allocate a new number to this web session. I'm going to need to force a new web session, and it's going to give me a new telephone number. So for that, I'm going to use Chrome's incognito window because it's going to force a new session. So I go to the front end website again, forcing a new session to start. And if I go back to the bottom, get there eventually, I have my Manchester telephone number there at the bottom. And if I hover it, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner the link for the Manchester number. So if I was on a mobile device and I hit that, then I would just be connected, and it would still track, and it will still route it through to your landline number in the Wise dashboard. So that is everything working. We have set up the number. We have configured it. We can see here how to redirect it. We can see how to reformat the display. We know how to change the class if we want to change that. And then over here on the right hand side, if you don't need it anymore, you've got a delete function, and you can get rid of it. I'm going to do a later video on how this connects to Google Analytics and how to view those reports separately. But for now, that is everything we probably need to cover for a dynamic placeholder. Any questions, do contact support. Thank you very much.